is the Vintage RPG Podcast, your source for the best in classic and contemporary RPGs. With your hosts, Hambone and Stu.
Welcome to the RPG Podcast, coming at you again from the clubhouse, hidden somewhere in the swamps of New Jersey. I'm John Hambone McGuire, and with me, as always, is the founder and publisher of Unwinnable. We actually hung out outside of our respective houses this weekend. Stu Horvath.
Hey, yeah, it was 5 minutes on the show floor, and then I see Hambone. Like, it's just crazy. Like,
I'm
literally, it just like so perfect to see the guy who lives like 3 blocks away, 2 seconds into navigating a giant place with thousands of people.
I mean, it's funny, though, because, we're talking about PAX Unplugged that they have every year in December in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And for us, it is a semi-local convention because it only takes us about an hour and a half to get there.
Right.
And, when I go to these things, I will put up an Instagram story, be like, hey, guys, if you want to say hi, I'll be on the floor all day, find the hair. And no shit. And listen, dear listener, I am at, best on my finest day, a Z-list celebrity. However, when I go to a convention or I'm in a certain RPG setting, I'm bumped up to a solid V. And it's enough that when I say, hey, come find me on the floor, I've had a ton of people come find me over the weekend. They're like, yep, found the hair. And then one dude was like, hey, he's like, you're wearing a hat. And I said, find the hair yesterday. Today, the shower didn't work at my hotel. But yeah, it was pretty funny, man, because, it's so great to meet people, especially listeners who, thankfully our listenership is spread over the entire world. So it's hard to imagine ever getting to another place and someone be like, oh man, I like your podcast. So it's cool, man. Good meeting y'all.
I love running into people who are just like, yeah, like so many people are like, are you Stu? like just random people, and it's just like, yes, because I don't know who they are. Yeah. And I often forget that I have a podcast that people listen to.
Yeah, my stock response was depends. Do I owe you money?
But then inevitably, they have something nice to say about how we're inspiring people to get into the hobby or get normal after the pandemic. It's just there's a range of responses, and they're all really warm and fuzzy, and it's always interesting and gratifying to kind of realize that we have impacts on people that are positive.
Yeah, and we're not just trying to put ourselves over here. We are. Thank you is what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
The level of gratitude that Stu and I have for our listenership is it's unreal. It's unfathomable to me that anybody would want me to sign anything, or people would want to take the time to talk to me outside of the people that I've definitely known my entire life. So genuinely, to each and every one of you, thanks. We really appreciate you, and the great Stanley, you keep reading them, we'll keep writing them. It's just the same thing, but we'll just keep yakking at you until the wheels fall off.
Yeah, it's funny. It never ceases to amaze me that people want me to sign things, even though that's a normal thing. People I love it when I find a book that has somebody's signature in it that wrote it, but it never occurs to me that anybody would and people that I've known for years have met Justine Jones, the artist, for the first time in person.
Amazing. Yeah.
Such a wonderful person, but have been following her work and have worked with her periodically for the better part of 10 years. And she brought the book for me to sign. And I was just I'm chuffed by that. It's just oh, you did that. Why would you want me to ruin your book by putting my stupid signature in it?
Yeah, because I'm a fan of you.
Yeah.
But this, I got to say, and I could actually throughout the day see it in you. A much better experience than going to Gen Con for you.
Oh my God. I just I just wrote an essay about it. So instead of doing my usual patron newsletter, I decided to do a sort of field report from PAX, and it's free for everybody. So you can go on the vintagerpg.com and check that out. And it has my actual measured thoughts about it. Now, granted, I had to get home like Odysseus at the end of the Odyssey, or at the end of the Trojan War, and it was a journey. It was difficult to get home, and that has definitely colored my perspective on the show overall, despite my best efforts to not let it happen. And I had a lot of fun at Gen Con, but there was definitely something about PAX Unplugged that I found surprisingly more gratifying or something. Like, I genuinely left feeling warm and fuzzy. Like, I didn't really want to leave. I had to, because I got to get, do the laundry and get the kid ready for school on Monday. But, leaving early on Sunday, I was like, oh, maybe we could stay for the next 3 hours and just hang out. And part of that is down to it's the holidays, it's a vacation sort of, like, even though it's an hour and a half away. But it's also the people, man. Like everybody who was there was so nice and welcoming and chill. Like, there's space to walk, and these are shows that are they're arranged around commerce. Your people are there to buy and sell and play games and to see if they want to buy or sell them, and I get that. But there was also like a lot of space at PAX to just hang out and swap stories and be with people with shared interests, and that I always appreciate that.
It's definitely like a bazaar, like a holiday bazaar, like market type vibe.
Right. Yeah. Especially with the actual Philly holiday market like 2 blocks away.
Oh, I didn't even know that was that. I mean, because I'm very much situated in that convention center when we're there.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it's cool because, like, first off, I know you, like me, use the Exalted Funeral booth as kind of like a home base.
Yep.
Throughout the convention. And, like, we talk about Exalted Funeral a lot on the show, and with good reason. We're always telling you're going to do your shopping there anyway, buy stuff, like. But, when you really break down Exalted Funeral to what they are and who they are, Matt and Kristen are just some of the coolest people you'll ever meet in the hobby, and just genuinely wonderful human beings. And they have curated a team of other wonderful human beings, people like Beckett, people like Tiger Wizard, people like David Hoskins, like, where you go to a spot and everybody's cool and you're cool too. And, like, it really is refreshing to exist in a corner of the hobby where, there's like no gatekeeping. Like, everyone's like, oh man, you're here. Awesome. Like, we got some cool stuff you might like, and turn you on to cool new things. It's like that. It's like the dream of the record store that, like, having worked in the record store, both of you and I could speak to this experience. I think from a very educated place. It's not what you think it is in the mind, but then, like, you get to a booth like Exalted Funerals, and it is like that. And then all weekend long, they had like game demos from people who've put out games through Exalted Funeral. On Saturday, they had an art grave with Dave Hoskins and just a bunch of cool artists hanging out, including my wife Sally, drawing skulls. Like, it was just a couple hours, like Justine Jones, Cheese Hasselberger. Like, it sounds like we're name dropping, but, like, we want you to know that, like, it was awesome. And, like, just drawing skulls. And, like, I got tired of standing. There was a seat open. I drew like a Danzig skull because I only know how to draw but 2 kinds of skulls, and I want them. But it was cool in another way too, because, like, except for like Cheese, who, like, I literally had breakfast with earlier in the week. Like, there's so many people at these conventions that I don't see regularly. Like, this is my chance to spend time with them and, like, actually hang out instead of, just having them be like whatever their profile picture is on the other side of the screen that I'm talking to. And, like, it reminds me of, like, being on tour back in the day where, like, you'd roll into a town and you'd have friends in that town and be like psyched to see them because this is maybe the only time in a year you get to be with these people. So, that's why I'm always like, I was always been telling you, like, you got to go to these, like, conventions, man, because, like, your people are here and they really are psyched to meet you.
It's energizing. It really is, like, it charges my battery in a way that is super interesting. And I gotta say, the thing about Exalted Future, they take really good care of the people that they're working with. I've known that just from working with them online and stuff. But I got to watch them, like Matt and Kristen and David and all of them, sort of like just work with the people who are doing the events, signing and running games and stuff. But then also just like the enthusiasm when somebody was, a customer, a patron, a conference goer was there to see somebody that was part of the larger Exalted Funeral umbrella, like the way that Matt would just be so excited to take that person and put them in front of the person that they were there to see and have them connect was just like infectious. And that was true of everybody. It was just, but like it just happened a couple times with me and Matt, where he was just like, Stu, this person is here for you, and like would just like bodily move them right in front of me. And it was just great. And like there's just like a pure enthusiasm that, like I said, it's infectious. It energizes you. And
you can't fake it, man. And Matt like is like, it's one of my favorite people in the hobby, and just like genuinely the first time I got to meet them, I was like overwhelmed because I was so excited, because these are people who like, when I broke into the hobby, like I called him and I was asking him questions, and he was generous with his time. And like, these are people who like, like they carry my books on their site, but like they don't put out my books, but they're still as incredibly cool and warm to people, to all the artists and creators. Like, it's just, you always hear such great stories from people who are like, yeah, man, they sent them some of my books. They put my books out, and they're very like super cool and nice to me. And like Matt, like maybe it was the handlebar mustache in his level of enthusiasm, but it was like hanging out with a pro wrestler. Cause like, I was like, waiting for him to cut a promo at any possible minute. And I'm like,
it did give him a little bit of a Carnival Barker, vibe.
So good. So good. But you know what, man, like it was cool too, because like for me, I'm also like, looking to spend some money and looking to get like, maybe turn on to some new things that like, we bring people on to talk about their Kickstarters, bring people to talk on their backer kits, we bring people to talk about their projects and stuff. But like, it's a very different experience when you run into people out there in the actual like wild, and you tangibly get the hands on the books that they're, people are trying to sell you and talk to you about.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. Like, I actually use this as an opportunity. We at a Winnable, Exalted Funeral has a sponsorship, and we've been running. We'll pair a writer with a creator, and we'll do a feature about it. So I picked up all of the stuff that we've profiled on Unwinnable that I hadn't yet picked up. And it was really great just to get them in my hand and like look through them. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was very much like I loved your book, but it fell directly out of my head because it's in PDF, and like I just can't. Yeah. I don't retain them. So I was just like I had it in my stack of books. I was like, I got it in physical, and I can't wait to read it again for the first time. And I thought that was pretty funny. But that's like, yeah, I have a gigantic stack of Exalted Funeral books.
Yeah, and it's also a different experience when you're sitting down like in your book nook, and you're actually holding a book in your hands.
Yeah,
tangibly, But yeah, man, it was a good time. It was cool. We got to dip over to Thunderworks and catch up with Jess.
Yeah.
Who's our longtime friend of ours. We got to meet Rick Meintz in person.
Yep. I met him for 2 seconds at Gen Con, but it was nice to actually stand there and chat with him. Again, there's elbow room at PAX. It was
oh god, the room to walk is like divine. Like I can't even wear comfortable shoes, by the way, because the floors at the Philadelphia Convention Center are the most unforgiving. And
Holy crap, man. Oh. Like usually when I walk around, I can tell you exactly where I'm going to hurt. Like I'm going to hurt the bottoms of my feet and maybe my ankles. And like if I'm wearing my shoulder bag, whatever shoulder I favored will get crunchy. But this time, I got out of the car after driving home. My hip hurt like I'm 70. I was like hobbling around like old man time. Like it could just be like I need a cane, like my whole hip, like and it's gone now. I recovered, and then you told me about the floor. Is like it had to be the floor. Daisy actually also had a little bit of a hip issue too. It was just like Hambone says it's the floor. It's the fucked up floor.
It is, dude. Like as some people know, I was a traveling salesman, and I have sold beds in 105-degree heat on asphalt at the Oklahoma State Fair. And my feet and my back hurt less than just walking around and occasionally sitting down at the Philadelphia Convention Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the entire Sunday and half of Monday, everything from my L5 down was like, no, you don't. Just lay in this bed. Just rot.
I mean, just having been to Gen Con, which I spent more time on the floor than I did at PAX, I could attest to that. This, like, there's something wrong with that floor.
Yeah, it's a cruel mistress.
And I mean, granted, it's only Wednesday as we're recording this, but I haven't gotten sick yet.
Don't put that into the universe, man.
No, I'm really excited about it. I feel like I would have inklings by now, and I'm hoping I'm through.
Just keep pounding vitamin C and hope for the best. So, did you get any cool stuff?
I got a ton of cool stuff. Primarily, I got okay. So yeah, I already mentioned the Exalted Funeral stuff that I got a pile of. You can read all those features. They're reprinted on vintagerpg.com too, if you're curious. But I got primarily board games that I'm excited about. A lot of board games there. I didn't know quite what to expect, like the proportion, but way more board games than I expected.
Well, yeah, the whole floor, the whole hall, because they have every part of the hall. It's cut into like it's cut into like thirds. So it's a third of the room is full of places for people to play games. A third of the room is board games, and a third of the room is like RPGs and people selling tchotchkes and dice.
Yeah. So I've been playing Cascadia a lot, so I got the expansions for that.
Nice.
And Daisy bought Typewriter by the fella from Daisy, my wife, who was kind enough to accompany me, and had a really great time as an outsider to the like a relative outsider. I mean, she's married to me, so like she's exposed to games and gaming culture in a way, but not like this, and had a really great time and is going to come back next year. She bought Typewriter, which is by the Burgle Bros guy, and she was really impressed by him. It was cool just to, like we've been playing. My mom kickstarted Burgle Bros for me a million years ago, and it was neat to see them there. But the two games that I'm really excited about, I've been trying to score a copy of the core game on Exalted Funeral, but every time I try, it's sold out. They're distroing it. A game called Black Mold.
Oh, nice.
Which is, it reminds me a lot of of Escape the Dark Castle, in that like you're prisoners, you're trying to escape. It's sort of like you're creating a dungeon on the fly that has all these perils in it. But the thing that's different about this is A, it's not co-op. It can be, but it could also be competitive. And B, your turn lasts as long as you can hold your breath because of the black mold that you don't want to inhale. And I can't wait to pass out because I'm trying to get shit done in the game. And I don't want to let go of my breath.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
What a mechanic, right?
What a fucking cool mechanic, yeah.
There's a full page disclaimer in the manual being like,
I mean, there has to be. Like,
don't be an idiot, please. Like, and if you don't want to hold your breath, here's a 60-second timer.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. But I mean, you could possibly hold your breath for more than 60 seconds.
You could. Well, Daisy's thing is just like, what if you have a Michael Phelps at the table? He's gonna like brutalize everybody. Like, yeah, that's and in time, theoretically, you would get better at holding your breath. So like over time, the games could get more and more intense. And then the other game board game that I got is Fire Tower, which Levi Rubeck over at Unwinnable wrote about, who was also at this show, but he went to PAX East. I don't know if it was last year or this year, but he wrote about it, and like basically his writing about it hooked me. Then I watched a demo, and that definitely hooked me. Basically, it's a 4-player game. Everybody has a fire tower. There's a forest fire in the middle, and you're trying to set everybody else's tower on fire so that you win. And the pieces are
awesome.
bright, clear, translucent orange. For the fire, and it's got a really good, it mixes like a malicious firebug energy with like really good bit game. Like the pieces are all really satisfying. It plays pretty cutthroat but fast, and I big on the aesthetic of it. It looks cool.
Love it.
And I also picked up the Discord had been talking about Triangle Agency, which is sort of a cross between like Control and Delta Green and stuff like that, role-playing game. And I picked up the bundle of that. Very cool game. I'll have more on that later.
Very cool, man. Yeah, dude, like I just walked around and was like hanging with people. And like one of the people I was hanging with was Nick Tafani, who's done work for 320 RPG.
I missed Nick. I saw that he was there afterwards, and I was just like, man, I even a show that felt so much smaller, I still missed people.
And I felt the same way. It was like one of those things where like I had a list on my phone of everyone's booths. And then like, some people, not gonna say who, but some people definitely put the wrong booth numbers down in their thing. So, a little harder to find. But like Nick was there to premiere for DVC Games. It's a game called Scream Park. It's by Jasper Beatrix, and the art is by Nick. And what it is, it's a pretty cool game. It's a small box game. And basically, you're the manager of a haunted house venue getting ready for Halloween. And you are trying to create the best and most terrifying haunted house in the country.
Oh man,
That's the whole game.
that's amazing.
1 to 5 players. It's a 30-minute game. And it's just all Nick's art, which, like, for me, complete home run. And for those who may not be familiar with the work he's done for me, the thing that made everyone pop there when I introduced him, I was like, yeah, he did all the art for Gradient Descent for Mothership. People's eyes get big. But yeah, except for the maps, Nick did all the art for that. So, yeah, I was stoked to be able to spend like some time with him and then get the, and of course I made him sign, instead of to my number one fan, it's like, sign it to my number one ham. So I thought that was pretty funny. Also, one of the people was hanging out over Exalted Funeral, and it's a book that Exalted Funeral put out. It is by Darcy Perry. It's called The Almanac. And
I missed that. God
yeah,
damn it.
it's an excellent guide to feathers and fur in the shadow dark, right? And like right when you open it up, you see 2 ducks fighting.
Frig. I'm so annoyed that I missed it.
Yeah, and like, I mean, dude, it's exceptional. And like, and Darcy was fun to hang out with. You could tell what kind of party you're going to because it's designed for use the Shadow Dark RPG. But like on one of the first pages, it's dedicated to Janelle Jaquays
Nice.
and ducks. Like literally, the first word of the book is ducks. So like, that's why I'm shocked that you did not get this book because this is like. This has like Stu written all over it. I'll break it down next time I see you. There's a
Nice.
A 3-headed pug in here, like, and the art is awesome because it's very like, like sometimes you get an RPG book and it's all the same kind of art and it doesn't really add any kind of like depth to it because it's just one art and there's it kind of like it tamps down the excitement a little bit. This one is different because this one is like a ton of different artists in here and it's cool as hell. And it is literally, an almanac. So,
So good.
Highly, highly recommend that. Also, and this is some stuff my Sally got as well. I finally got the hardcover of Herbalist Primer,
Nice.
which is like as cool in person as I thought it would be. Just such a gorgeous, gorgeous book. I swung over to Creature Curation to go see Brian Collin. And I picked up one of the new books he's got out. It is called Skeleton Crew. It's a bare bones edition of the revised core rules for Vaskrim.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which is
Bare bones, huh?
bare bones. Yeah, so it's just all the text and stuff like that.
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
Bare bones.
yeah. As you're saying it, I'm kind of finally coming around to the joke.
You didn't even realize you did that.
I didn't even. Yeah, I'm looking at it as I'm talking to you about it. It is pretty awesome, man. Like, it's compatible with Mork Borg, and yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite creators going right now, and it's cool because as much as these books are incredible to have sometimes, and like to see all the cool art and the things like that, it's cool to have a bare bones edition to be able to kind of just like quick reference and not get distracted by all the cool art.
Nice.
So December, I'm running Pirate Borg. In January or February, I'm going to run Vaskrim.
Cool.
So if you are one of our patrons at the Hambone tier or the Stew tier, there's going to be a lot of Borgin going on for the next couple months. I finally got a copy of Repugnant, an RPG in the Compost Apocalypse. I got the 3rd edition of it. It is written by John DeCampos and Tony Vacinda. And... yeah, it is super cool. It is super weird, and I picked up a specific copy. He ordered more for the show, and he ended up getting it arrived in the wrong size, so I got the big one, which is super cool to see all the art in like a traditional D&D size book.
Nice,
but yeah, man, it's pretty cool, man. I definitely want to. We're definitely going to talk about it more on a later show. In fact, like most of the stuff that we got, we're going to talk about more in a later show.
Right.
But yeah, man, check out Repugnant. It is. It's pretty. It's kind of hard to explain and get into without like doing an entire episode on it. But it's pretty freaking cool, man. And then finally, speaking of Tony, I dipped by the Plus One Experience booth and I picked up This Old House. House of Card game by Wes Franks. Now, this came out with the RPG Zine Club that Plus One Experience does.
Okay.
And, what I love about this kind of stuff is it's just a cool concept because it's a game about home for 1 to 4 players, but basically it uses the act of building a house of cards to tell the story. Right? So you're creating like a whole world for this house. And essentially you're building the house because you're literally building a house of cards. Then when the house falls, that also informs the way the story goes because like any house of cards, it really does take a miracle to keep that house of cards. You need a 4-sided dice. You need a mat to keep the cards steady, or a table that you're not gonna like shake too much, and a standard deck of cards. And then you and your friends, it's a story game that revolves around. And I think it's such a cool concept to get people to do such an old style game of building a house of cards. So yeah, I was pleased with all my purchases. Of course, I bought dice, but definitely check out the Zine Club. We're going to talk about that on a later show. But the one thing the thing that really kind of got me, and I think it might have got you too, Choose Your Own Adventure had a booth at PAX.
Oh yeah, they were so nice.
They were so nice, and like all like new Choose Your Own Adventure books. They had a Choose Your Own Adventure tarot card, and like. And the prices are still like normal, like Choose Your Own Adventure prices for these books. And so like, they smell like old books, but they're new books. And so I picked up a Houdini one. I picked up Escape from the Haunted Warehouse. I picked up what I picked up for my goddaughter. It was a 4-book set with unicorns because
That's the magic set. Daisy picked up the same one.
Actually, there's a unicorn box and a magic box.
Oh, really? Because they have a unicorn on the magic box.
And that was where my confusion was. But we decided on the unicorn box. I got Murder at the Old Willow Boarding School, and then the Houdini. I think it's like Houdini as a spy. And I was just talking to the people about Choose Your Own Adventure, and it's definitely something we're going to talk about on the show next year because it's friggin' Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah,
like this is like the stuff like. When I got it as a kid, I was like, oh my God, this is cool. And I had the Marvel ones that were not Choose Your Own Adventure, but they found a sidestep board that was TSR.
Yeah.
TSR had those
Endless Quest
and the romance books. And like, it's just such a cool thing to see, like, and like to me, like a no-brainer. Like, I'm shocked that this hasn't come around sooner.
Yeah.
But yeah, their booth was getting picked clean by the end of Saturday. So cool. I was very, very happy to see that. Very happy for them. But yeah. I mean, that's kind of, we're talking about this stuff because we're kind of wrapping up on the year, and we just, we want to encourage you all to, and this is coming from me, the person who, may have gotten slightly agoraphobic over the last 4 years. Go out, make some friends, go hang out with people, go play some games at conventions. Like, it's that cool summer camp vibe that you might not have had as a kid that you can get as an adult, and now with more disposable income.
I'm leaving out like my favorite thing that I got at PAX. So in the beginning of Sunday, I was over at the Exalted Funeral table. It wasn't even the beginning. It was like noon by the time I rolled in. There's this guy in like a battle jacket with like longish hair and sort of a devilish beard. And devilish is key because he kind of like leaned in and like he knew who I was. It was Pele from Stockholm Cartel.
Oh yeah, I love those dudes.
He had like this really like mischievous grin, and he put something in my hand, and it was like it's a little box, black and yellow, of course, because it's Merkborg, and it's licorice miseries. It's a little box of black licorice candies.
Oh my God.
The subtitle says, "Eat them if you wish. It will not save you." And then there's a D6 for the effect, the in-game effect for each candy that you eat. It's so good. And like just the fact that they were there, just like him and Johan were there from, it's an international trip. Oh my God. And Andre Novoa from Games Omnivorous was there too. I met him too. Like there were so many great people.
Yeah.
But
it's
yeah,
cool.
like the box of licorice miseries. And I sent a picture to Jamie over at Strange Attractor. He's like, "Well, did you eat one?" And I was like, "No, because licorice is miserable. Like, I'm not going to eat it.
Yeah.
And it's also a collectible. You'll never see this on the market. I mean, this could be valuable. This could put my kid through college one day, right?
Just put it on a shelf, man. Put it on a shelf out of his reach.
He keeps asking me for one. I was like, dude, it's licorice. You're going to hate it.
Oh, yeah, but imagine if he was that weird kid who likes black licorice. And no shade to people who like black licorice. I mean, it's different strokes, different folks. But man, like, I remember, like, my great aunt, my great uncle, their idea of, like, buying candy to keep around the house for the kids was, like, Andy Mints and black licorice. And,
God.
yeah. And then I had other family members that were Werther. We were also a Werther's original family, my mother's side. But yeah, hold on to that, man. That's super cool. They're also super cool people.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, just I met them last year at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah, and I mean, just like it's great to have like a small show where like you could but that is big enough to support somebody like because they're from Stockholm. Like it's not just the name of the company, it's its location too. Yeah. So like that's an expensive trip, but they made it over, and that's cool.
Yeah, so go hang out.
Yeah.
Leave your house. Go to conventions. Go have some fun. Roll some dice with people. Make some new friends. Buy some stuff. Like, it's one that I will go to every year, and one that I will keep buying new sneakers before I go, just to figure out which one is going to keep me from feeling like death for 2 days after.
Yo, dude, I did boots like I always do, and fuck that next time.
Dude,
no way.
No, dude. I didn't want to say anything. I was like, yeah, he made his choice, because I know you, and I'm like, he didn't bring back a pair of sneakers. Like, boots.
I mean, I did bring sneakers. I had them, but I was just like, nah, like an asshole.
Ooh. Oh God, yeah. But yeah, this is another amazing episode of the Vintage RPG Podcast. We are going to be wrapping it up for the year with this one. We're going to be back on January 6th with a new episode. Until then, enjoy some reruns. Speaking of cool conventions, I'll be at PAGE in January, Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, and you can use the code VintageRPG with a capital V and a capital RPG to get a discount on your weekend pass. So check out PAGE 2 if you're in the Philadelphia area. It's honestly one of the best cons I was at this year. I did 12 cons this year. Absolutely. Yeah, I won't be doing that next year. But I will be at PAGE, and I definitely will be at PAX Unplugged, the alpha and my omega of the year in Pennsylvania. PAGE 2 is going to be dynamite. You heard it on a previous episode. Vintage RPG is the code, and that's capital V, capital RPG at the end. Get you a nice little discount on your weekend pass. And when you're down there at PAGE, you see Ron, you tell him Hambone sent you. So, Stu, where can people find you on the internets?
They can find me at vintagerpg.com. As I said, my formal essay recapping a lot of the thoughts that we just discussed about PAX is up there now. And we've got a big, exciting 2025 already written and photographed. And I'm excited to share it with you with big pictures and functioning search and no algorithms. It's good.
No algorithms. You can find me across the internet at John McGuire RPG. I'm on Blue Sky now. I'm actually posting almost daily there. I'm on the Instagram where I'm posting. I'm actually probably going to this week post pictures of my haul from PAX Unplugged. If you want to check out any of my books, head over to Exalta Funeral. Because they do have everything 3-2-1 RPG and 5 Alive RPG Zombie Brain Eaters for your shopping pleasures. If you like the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Your reviews really do help other listeners to find us. And if you really like the show, why not become a patron? Patreon.com/vintageRPG. We got a behind-the-scenes look at whatever Stu's working on. We got a behind-the-scenes look at what I'm working on. I actually just posted a director's cut piece from Zombie Brain Eaters Seasons Eatings the other day on our Patreon. At the $5 tier, you can play in a monthly RPG with me. At the $10 tier, you can get in on my game as well as Stu's West Marches campaign. We've also got a killer Discord community we'd love for you to be a part of. Patreon.com/vintagerpg. So for Stu Horvath, I'm John Hambone McGuire. May the dice always roll in your favor. Take care.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Every review helps other listeners to find us. The Vintage RPG Podcast is a ham-fisted production. Music by Dego West. Art by Schaefer Brown. If you like the podcast, you should also consider becoming a patron at patreon.com.